Third down and 20.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Third and 20 Dynasty Podcast. We're on episode 28. Kind of crazy that it's come this far, and we are in the thick of free agency. As we're recording this, it's Tuesday night, the, kind of whatever they call it on Monday, where you're kind of allowed to tamper. That period was crazy. We got a lot to cover.
Legal tampering.
Yeah, legal tampering. We have a lot of free agency news to talk about. So I think we should just dive right into it. Frank's throwing up the Third and 20 podcast.
Dynasty Podcast.
Dynasty Podcast, thank you. Yep. All right, so I guess the first news that we want to talk about is Allen Robinson was franchise tagged by the Bears. We talked about that last week. Allen Robinson says he's not signing the franchise tag. He said, I believe the quote is, there are 31 other teams that would have been able to extend me. It's clear that he doesn't want to be with the Bears. They just signed another quarterback who we'll get into later. Is Allen Robinson going to be in Chicago this year, guys? What are we doing?
There is no way he is in Chicago, man. He's kind of forcing his hand here. He will not play for them, especially with the news that they couldn't trade for Russ, they couldn't trade for Watson, so their backup plan, Andy Dalton. Yeah, there's no way he's still here. He's just sick of it. He wants to go to a contender. He's in his prime. I think he's going to be 28 next season. He wants to win, and he's sick of playing with quarterbacks of the likes of, Trubisky, Foles, and Blake Bortles here.
Don't you dare put Blake Bortles in that conversation.
You mean the boat and Super Bowl MVP?
Yeah, exactly. One won a Super Bowl. One led the Jaguars of all teams to over the Steelers. There was some officiating away from being the Patriots.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Come on, Jake. The disrespect. Allen Robinson has had great quarterbacks. But in all seriousness, the man deserves a good quarterback at some point in his career. You just gotta hope it's sometime soon. I guess, what do we expect to happen? Like, is he just gonna try and sit out and force his way out? Are the Bears gonna start answering calls about him?
Because that's what I was thinking. Because I was just kind of thinking about he's definitely gonna move. But then I was like, are the Bears gonna try to trade? I don't know what the leverage he has here. Is he gonna sit out for a year and as a skill player waste a year? I don't know. I will say. It's hard for me to predict where he's going to end up, but I'll just talk fantasy-wise if he does stay with the Bears. Reminder to everyone, even if he does stay and play with the Bears this year, he's been quarterback-proof literally his entire career. And Andy Dalton's probably going to be the best QB play besides that 1 year of Trubisky that he's had in Chicago. So I still expect him to put up really good numbers. So I wouldn't panic or anything like that. Or he'll still, if he plays this year in Chicago with Dalton, he'll still put up really good numbers. And Amari Cooper did with Andy Dalton last season, I think, also.
All right. I guess that's enough Allen Robinson talk. The other news.
One more quick thing on Allen Robinson. Where do you guys, just quickly, around the room, where do you think he ends up?
Someone else go first.
All right. I got to imagine it's still the Bears. I don't know. We've seen it with Le'Veon Bell, but, how many other times have you seen a player just, sit out the year and does it really work, especially when you're talking to Allen Robinson, who is at the peak of his prime of his career. I just can't imagine him forcing his way out of Chicago. And when you've got Matt Nagy and Pace literally fighting for their job, I don't think getting rid of one of your top players is the way to do it.
Yeah, if I had to bet, I'm going to say Chicago, but I think he leaves next year because for them to franchise tag him again next year, that's going to be an insanely high number. So I think, because like JT said, Nagy and Pace are in desperation mode. They're not going to think, we could get a draft pick, help us long term. They don't have a long term if they suck again this year. So I think he ends up playing in Chicago just for this year, then he's gone next year.
It might be my Giants bias talking, but I think he could potentially end up there depending on what happens with Kenny Golladay. I could see them throwing a third-round pick to the Bears just for Allen Robinson and sign him to a long-term extension that he wants.
You already got your wide receiver one in John Ross.
Yeah, John Ross.
Yeah. Nothing to worry about, Jake.
Is there room for Allen Robinson in the starting three?
I think he's getting relegated.
Can he start on the Giants?
Role player. All right.
The hate I get on this pod is just unbelievable.
Any other thoughts, Frank, or are we going to move on?
I'm good.
All right. So Aaron Jones, making Lounis happy, is re-signing with the Packers, to the dismay of many A.J. Dillon owners. I have to assume this kind of helps his value. I think a lot of us were concerned about where he could possibly end up and being on a different team. Even if it was Miami, you never know what's going to happen when a player goes to another team. Does that mean Aaron Jones is a top 12 dynasty running back?
Yeah. He's staying in Green Bay. The past 2 years in Green Bay, he's finished what? RB2 and RB5. Jamal Williams isn't staying. They didn't sign a big name receiver, at least not yet. I expect him to get a ton of catches because A.J. Dillon, I don't think, is a receiving back. So some of those catches Jamal Williams got every game, it's going to be mostly Aaron Jones. And they gave him the big contract, so I think they're really going to try to just use him as much as possible now that they're already committed to him. So I think he's a top 10, or what do you say, top 12? Yeah. How are you feeling, Frank and JT? Frank and Jake.
Well,
Yeah, one thing is that the Packers, they're a little bit weird just because I think that Jamal Williams, when you compare him to A.J. Dillon, wasn't as much of a threat in between the tackles as A.J. Dillon should be if he continues his progression. So one thing I kind of expect to see is them use Aaron Jones as that H-back, almost tight end slot receiver mix type of role where we see A.J. Dillon as the back with Aaron Jones used more as a slot receiver. I think that could be interesting. Does that make A.J. Dillon fantasy relevant? Probably not. I just don't think we're going to see it with any sort of consistency. I think we'll see a couple packages, but I mean, obviously it's big for Aaron Jones. Like you guys said, Aaron Jones probably cements himself, at least to me, as around a top 12 back. If he's not being regarded as a top 12 back in something like a startup, I think once again, for another year, he is one of the top running back buys that you can get in startups. So good for Aaron Jones. Sucks for the A.J. Dillon owners. You had a chance to sell. I don't think his career is over by any stretch of the imagination. It's just his path to relevancy is just really been screwed here. I really doubt we see the Packers as a team where they're sustaining two backs like we've seen under few coaches, and that mainly being Shanahan.
yeah. For me though, I'm still pushing him into my top 12, just maybe 11, maybe 12. But like with the job security and everything, like him versus Josh Jacobs, I'm going to take Aaron Jones. Him versus CEH, Aaron Jones, Najee. I understand Najee's younger, although not that much younger considering Najee's a rookie. Like you would expect him to be younger. None of them really.
I'm assuming he's over Zeke as well.
Yeah, he would be. Just because he's already finished better than Zeke in the past. Well, I'm not sure how they compared 2 years ago, but either way, Aaron Jones had a great season 2 years ago and a great season last year. So,
2 years ago, he was ahead of Zeke because CMC was number one.
Yeah. So he's bumped his way back into the top 12 for me just because we know where he's going to be. We know the situation he's in. Frank did mention, some of the concerns, but like it's not enough to push me off Aaron Jones and knock him out of the top 12. All right. So moving on, we're going to talk about someone finally retired, Drew Brees. And with that, we kind of all expected it. He kind of waited a while and held everyone on for a little bit, but he officially did retire. And that same couple days after, we had Taysom Hill signing $100 million extension. We all know it's actually just like a 1-year extension. And Jameis Winston also re-signed with the Saints. So the Saints kept the two backup quarterbacks that they had last year. Who's the starter, guys? Are we buying either of them? Do we expect much?
I mean, whoever starts, I think, is going to be very fantasy relevant. Sean Payton's a great offensive coach, and we've seen over the past 2 years, whenever someone's had to fill in for Breeze, they've been pretty good. Um, Taysom Hill was a good fantasy QB last year in the games he started. Jameis Winston has just about his career been a good fantasy QB. So whoever's gonna start, I like a lot. But the problem with trying to buy one of them is you have no idea who's gonna end up being the starter. If I had to guess, I think Jameis beats him in a training camp battle. If you told me to just pick, but who knows? Like it's hard to guess. Like you're taking a chance buying either one, which you probably get them cheaper now than when they're named starter, but it's a risk.
Frank, you have Jameis in our league. Are you selling him, or are you just gonna diamond hands us through training camp and everything? Well, what's the plan?
Dude, I have no idea. Like, I've just been holding Jameis because ever since he was in Tampa Bay, I was just thinking to myself, what's the point of selling? Maybe if I can get a late second, but even then, is it really even worth it? I think it was last year, but I think the problem with Jameis owners right now is that his value, while it has gone up, definitely, it hasn't really gone up enough to warrant a sell if you've held, especially if you're not insanely strong at quarterback. I mean, and if you were insanely strong at quarterback, you probably would have sold earlier. So I think the conundrum that I'm having with Jameis is, okay, I might have been able to get a late second before. Now I know I can get a late second, but is it worth for me to now get that late second after I've held for an entire year, like a year and a half? You know, it's just, is it worth it at that point? So I honestly have no idea. I think I am going to hold just because, at least for my team in the league that you guys are talking about, I have so many second round picks that I don't really need any more. Unless I'm really an addict for the second round, maybe I'll get some more. But if you're to ask me, though, who I really think is going to be the starter, I think it's Taysom Hill. Like, even as a Jameis owner, I think that it's Taysom Hill. I think that Taysom Hill offers me a little bit more consistency. While Jameis does have the higher ceiling, Sean Payton has proven he's able to work with basically any quarterback, and I think that in that offense, Taysom Hill offers me a little bit more of that high floor, that consistency that I'm looking for.
That's surprising. So you think in a training camp battle, Taysom Hill would beat Jameis?
Dude, to be honest, like, I didn't believe in Taysom Hill, but then I did that film analysis. It's on the channel if you're interested, and he surprised me. I mean, he's not perfect. He has a ton of room to go, and Jameis is a better pure passer. It's just, I think with a small bit of development from Taysom Hill, he could be not as good as Jameis as a pure passer, but it's not just about how good you are at throwing the football. Like, if he gets a little bit better at throwing the football, I think he's just better at playing quarterback. Whereas Jameis, it's the other way around. He's got everything you need as a passer. You need to hone those skills. I just don't think that Jameis is going to be able to do that. That's the only problem. I think it's harder as a coach for you to take someone and say, okay, just be better at the mental aspect of the game, rather than, hey, Taysom Hill, just develop a throw. You know, you just need to develop one throw and a little bit of touch in your football, which I think is a lot more reasonable. And then all of a sudden I have a less ceiling quarterback, but I've got a quarterback that I really think, as a coach, from a coach's perspective, not fantasy football, he wins me more games consistently.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree on this one. I'm eating all the W's. I'm on the Jameis bandwagon. Like you said, he has all the talent in the world. You know, the guy can launch the ball all the way down the field. He's a gunslinger. And I think, playing with, Bruce Arians in that system didn't do him any favors. I think being a year behind Drew Brees, learn behind a Hall of Fame quarterback for a full year, learn from Sean Payton for a full year. Sean Payton brought him back for a reason. You don't just bring back Jameis for no reason here. If you saw him all year in practice, every day, and you thought he stunk, you're not bringing him back. So I think they brought him back for a reason. I think he's going to be the starting quarterback. I think they really like Taysom Hill in that, do everything role where he could play special teams, he could play tight end. He'll play quarterback. I guarantee you, he'll play some snaps at quarterback. But I think the starting quarterback will be Jameis Winston, and he's going to have a good year. I think I really do. But I agree. I think it's with Frank here. I just think it's going to be hard to buy him because the owner that has him probably isn't going to want to sell, especially with the Breeze retiring news. And you're not going to want to give up that much knowing that Taysom Hill could be there in the starting role.
Okay, real quick, just one-word answers so that we can give some advice to the Jameis and Taysom Hill owners. Frank, if you own Jameis, buy, sell, or hold, or no, Jameis is a buy, sell, or hold, Taysom Hill is a buy, sell, or hold, which one for each?
I think the first thing is it does depend on the price. Jameis, I think, is, to me, more of a sell. I think Taysom is more of a buy.
I'll hijack this.
JT, go ahead.
I'm going to hijack this real quick, Lounis, right? So, first off, one thing. I just want to address one thing before we move on. Jake, if you're serious about eating W's and Jameis Winston, you'd eat a W right now on camera. Otherwise, I don't believe anything you say. Now, otherwise, oh, he did.
Hey, he ate the W.
That's an Instagram clip.
Take that, JT.
Next. So, Frank, you're the Jameis Winston owner in our league, right? You have Jameis Winston on your team. Rather than do a buy, sell, hold on Jameis, right? You did a breakdown on the YouTube about the rookie quarterbacks, and someone that you're much higher on than most other people is Kellen Mond. So say come draft day, I come knocking, and I've got the pick right there. Kellen Mond is available at the board. Let's just say it's pick 204.
Did you just knock on the table?
Oh,
That's what I'm laughing at.
Oh, I pick 204, Frank. Are you selling Jameis for Kellen Mond, straight up?
I am smash accepting, JT. I will break my phone accepting that deal.
Oh my God!
All right, so we know where.
So that's what Kellen Mond's probably going to be a mid-second. I mean, he might rise if he goes late first in the real NFL draft.
So currently, in the consensus, the consensus rankings or whatever, he's going late third. But this is
a crime.
It's going to rise. It's going to rise once the actual draft happens.
Frank's very high on he's one of the early boarders on the Kellen Mond hype train. I'm just going to stand there and get run over by it because I'm just not getting bored. I won't be drafting.
Just look at the tape, man. Just look at the tape. The
tape
never lies.
Listen. I'm on the train. Frank's just in like the first car. I'm in like
Frank's
the
the conductor.
I'm the conductor.
Frank's like, all aboard!
Yeah, Frank's pulling. I'm just like sitting in one of the seats. I'm not putting him ahead of Trey Lance, but I like him.
Kellen Mond's friends and family, and then Frank right there.
Dude, I'd argue Frank, then the friends and family.
Yeah, maybe. All right, I think we spent enough time on me. Train kind of went off the tracks there, to be honest. Moving on, though. The Texans. We're getting into the thick of drama. We've got Russell Wilson with the Seahawks and his whole thing. But we still have the Deshaun Watson issue, right? Deshaun Watson wants out. Is there a possibility that he just sits the year? Like, should we be going out and getting Tyrod Taylor, who just signed with the Texans? Like, what's going on, guys?
Is it maybe emergency insurance if Deshaun Watson sits out this year? Is it maybe if they end up trading for one of those top draft picks, trading away Deshaun Watson, what's his name? I forget. Tyrod Taylor being the bridge quarterback for that rookie QB? I could see either of those two possibilities. So I think it's mostly that. But my main thing I got from that is I don't think whether it's sitting out or via trade that the Texans expect Deshaun Watson to be their starting QB next year.
You got that all from Tyrod Taylor?
Yeah.
Deshaun's not playing for the Texans. One thing I will say is not even if he's going to sit out, because Lounis, you did this in our league. Is it time to just say, I'm going to cash in on Watson? Because that might sound crazy, and everyone's going to say, oh, well, if he gets traded, all of a sudden he's going to a better situation. And I question that heavily because the Texans were second in the league in passing yards per game. Deshaun Watson literally was just like, last year it was like, okay, Deshaun Watson, here you go, throw the ball 50 times a game and win. Like, are we really expecting him to go to a better fantasy situation than that? And for that matter, the whole risk of him sitting out is not priced in. I think he will get traded before he sits out, but that is a possibility. He's still widely considered a top 5 dynasty quarterback. You could realistically cash in and just say, fuck it. Like, he's good, but I don't want to deal with the risk. I'm not saying to do that. I'm just kind of bringing up the possibility. Like, if someone really wants that quarterback, you could fleece the shit out of them for a really good price. And then if he does sit out, you might not win in the long run necessarily. But if you're a team that's looking to compete this year, I feel like that is something that you have to consider is a possibility at this point.
All right, another scenario real quick. Frank, let's pretend you have Deshaun in our league, right? And I have Dak. What on top of Dak gets me Deshaun? Is it anything?
Oh, definitely. Well, the thing is,
it's definitely
I'm
something.
pretty high on Dak. I really like Dak. So, realistically, if I was getting like Dak Prescott in a first, I don't know what the consensus value on that is, but I would definitely think about it. I think that's what it is for me. Like, that's one of those deals that, like, I'm just gonna say, hey, point to the damn trade calculator. If you match the values, I'll accept the deal. Like, that's a scenario for me that I would look to do. So I would just try to squeeze out as much value as possible. I don't really care what I get, because now this is gonna come off as I think that Dak is just as good, if not better, dynasty wise, as Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and
I don't know if I can go that far. Also, because I do
I
want to
don't know
see how
about the
Dak
injury
looks
though.
post.
That's the thing.
I was gonna say I want to see how he looks post injury.
so
I'm not a doctor, so I have no idea.
a quick look into the keep trade cut dynasty calculator, which we referenced before. It's right around pick 201 plus Dak, maybe the like 111, 112, kind of in that area. Plus Dak gets you Deshaun, according to this calculator. So Dak,
I'd probably
Yeah, I
want
think
a
that's
mid
pretty
first. I'd probably want a mid first. I don't think I would trade Watson for Dak in a late first.
But if you're the Dak owner, are you trading Dak and mid first for Deshaun? Because think about who you could get in mid first in a Superflex league. That could be like a Kyle Pitts, a Jamar Chase, Javonte Williams kind of caliber player. On top of Dak, I don't know if I'm willing to give that up for Deshaun, to be honest.
I mean, Deshaun's not going to come cheap. I think both for that particular situation, both QBs have question marks. Because Deshaun Watson, we have no idea what the fuck's happening with him next year. And then Dak, it's like, is he going to have to score as much? Like, with that defense, is it going to be as bad where he's just putting up a ton of points in the fourth quarter? And how is he going to look post-injury? So it's like, you're taking a risk either way for either of those two QBs.
I could see both sides of the coin on that, to be honest. I could, I can understand all the concerns whether or not you like Dak, and I can understand if you think that Deshaun Watson right now is overpriced. I completely see both sides. I think that move would make sense to trade Dak, and like Linda said, I think it's too much anyway, but I think the possibility that makes you want to do that is if you have a sick quarterback and you're like, I just want to make sure I have 2 guaranteed studs. So I'm scared about Dak's injury. I'll do that move to guarantee I have like 2 top 5 quarterbacks, let's say. And I could see that.
All right. Definitely something we're still monitoring. Who knows what, if anything, is going to happen, but it's the NFL and we love us some drama. All right. Some other kind of less interesting news and notes, and then we'll move on. Cam Newton stays with the Patriots. It wasn't like a crazy deal. I think it's $5 million plus incentives. I could get up to $14 million. But cheap considering all the other quarterbacks that have signed. Yes, Lounis?
I do want to pose. I don't know if you were going to get to this question, JT, and if you were, I'm sorry.
Yep.
It's regarding the Cam. I want to hear what you guys think. So that Cam contract was pretty cheap. It's pretty much $5 million base, and then it can go up based on incentives. A lot of people are thinking Cam is the starter next year. If you own Cam, do you sell him while people think he's going to be the starter and banking on the fact that you think they're going to take a rookie QB? Or do you just keep him and expect if he is a starter, he'll give you rushing points?
All right.
I don't think you'll get anything.
Yeah, let me.
You I think you can get something.
Let me
Cam
run
right
through your mindset, through my mindset right now, right? So when Cam originally signed with the Patriots, I was like, he could be like a sneaky good buy just to like, just to have that random quarterback on your bench that if your other quarterbacks go down or if you're in bye week in Superflex, like you could throw him in there and kind of feel comfortable that you're getting a double-digit, albeit probably a lower double-digit game. But now with all the free agent signings, which we'll get to, I think people are going to start hyping him up now. And the question I was going to ask you guys is like, are the Pats still going to go quarterback in the first round? Because personally, I think they are. So yeah, now at this point, I would not be buying Cam Newton for whatever his price is.
Would you sell him if you had him?
If I had him, I'd say yeah.
If people think
What's
he's
the
the
price?
starter.
Well, I
Yeah,
got
what what's the hypothetical offer here? What is the value?
205.
Done. Goodbye.
205. I value.
I would sell Cam for 205.
Yeah, I value Cam right around Jameis. If you're smashing except for Jameis for whatever I gave you, I'm definitely smashing except for Cam at that same price.
Interesting.
Because like what realistically like is Cam
Wait,
gonna
wait. Hold up. You're saying you have Jameis and Cam at the same price?
close?
Someone
yeah,
that's I don't
Why?
know. I think
What?
Jameis is more. I really think Jameis is worth more.
Jameis isn't I know Cam's not the guarantee starter, but like Frank even said he thinks Taysom Hill might be the starter, and Frank has Jameis in our league. Like I don't think they're that far valued off. Why am I buying? Why is it wrong to value a backup around the same price as Cam?
Because Cam is coming to the end of his career, clearly. While Jameis, I still think, has a shot here. Jameis is a whole lot younger here, and it's a one-year deal he's on in New Orleans. If he's not the starter, he can go peace.
Yeah, but if Jameis isn't the starter at New Orleans, do you truly believe he's going to get somewhere else? Like, do you think some other team's going to go and get Jameis?
We've seen it this year. There's so many teams that need a quarterback every single year. Someone will give a chance to Jameis. Like, I think he could, like, hypothetically, like, I think he could get traded if the Saints go, you know what, he's not going to be our starting quarterback, we'll trade him. So a team like the Bears that needs a quarterback.
The Bears just accumulating all and finish.
The Bears legit no. If Taysom Hill is announced the starter, I think they should trade for Jameis.
Right.
But I don't know if now they're
Exactly.
committed to Andy Dillon.
Let me put it like this. I think that Cam Newton is a much better buy than Jameis Winston right now. Because
Oh.
here's my rationale behind it. I can understand why
I'm
you
with you,
like
Jake.
Jameis. Because of the whole, if Jameis pans out, he can have more than like a 1-year outlook, whereas Cam Newton, it's like, how
He's got 1 or
much
2
am I
years.
going to get out of this guy? But my whole thing is, if I'm buying a quarterback for the long haul, why the fuck am I buying Jameis Winston?
Exactly.
Like,
Why
of
would you
all
buy
guys
Cam
to buy, Jameis Winston is the
Well-
last guy.
So I guess the whole thing is Frank and I are probably lower on Jameis than consensus, while we're maybe slightly higher on Cam, if at all. Like, I'm not really high on Cam, I'd say.
It's just, dude, if I need a quarterback who's going to get me... I've seen this story time and time again with Cam Newton. Everyone thinks he sucks. He has some bad tape. He's just inconsistent. And all that inconsistency showed after he got freaking COVID, for God's sake. Myles Garrett, who was a Defensive Player of the Year frontrunner, sucked after he got COVID. Why can't that happen with Cam Newton? Like, my whole thing is, price for fantasy points, I think it's a lot better for Cam Newton than James. I'm not saying that James, I have him. It's not like I'm eager to sell him. I have no idea with James. With Cam, considering the fact that you guys just said that you would smash accept Cam for 205, like 205 for Cam, I mean, I can get him for a late second. If I'm a team that's a contending team and I've got my late second and I'm sitting here and I need a damn quarterback, I might be able to get a QB1 fantasy-wise in Cam Newton. I know that sounds ridiculous, but just look at what happened last year. Like, maybe for not the entire... But, dude, you look at... They have a team now, it looks like. They have a team. If... You know, realistically, I think that Cam Newton, for next year and next year only, has a higher chance of being a QB1 than James does. And you can get him at a better price. So if I'm a contending team, I need a quarterback, I throw out that second, I get Cam Newton, the whole league makes fun of me, but I'm laughing all the way to the bank with my fantasy points.
Thanks, Frank. And just to build off this before you guys bring us down, right? Cam Newton was quarterback 16, despite missing a game against the Chiefs due to COVID. He has a lot better weapons now. It's another year in the Patriots system. Is his future outlook great? No, not really. Do I see him in the league as a starting quarterback 3 years from now? No. Is there a possibility James can be a starting quarterback 3 years from now? Yeah. Do I think it's likely, though? No. I just don't see Jameis being a starting quarterback 3 years from now. So why am I going to bank on him competing with Taysom Hill, of all people, to try and get the starting job? Sorry, Frank, I know you like Taysom Hill. But, like, he's competing with Taysom Hill to get a job. If he doesn't win, like, I can't imagine him going somewhere else and actually being fantasy relevant when we have Cam Newton, who, yeah, the Patriots are probably going to draft a quarterback, at least as a Patriots fan. I hope they do. But, like, you know, we've seen the formula before with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tyrod Taylor. You have that guy going out there and you have him performing. Just give me those guaranteed points over spending up more for Jameis Winston and maybe getting nothing in return. Like, I don't know. Just give me Cam.
The other thing, too, though, is, real quick, Jake, like, are we really convinced? Like, I'm not saying that the Patriots won't draft a quarterback, but are we really convinced it's going to be in the first round? If there's any guy that's been drafting quarterbacks in the second and third round, it's been Belichick and the Patriots.
Yeah, but the only time
Kellen
it really
Mond
worked,
to New England.
the only time it really worked
Oh my
was when
God.
they won the sixth round.
We'll force JT onto the train.
I would love that. I will
be
that.
off the train so quick.
I'd be so happy.
I'll be off the train so quick.
Put him with Josh McDaniels. He won
I'll
games with
get
Kyle
you. I'll
fucking
get
Orton.
you a Mons jersey for your birthday.
I could hang it back here. We've seen time and time again though, like second round quarterbacks almost never work out. Like there's so few second round quarterbacks and beyond that pan out. And the Patriots have taken plenty of quarterbacks in the mid to late rounds and it's never worked. So
Jimmy G. He was
Jared
in second.
Stidham.
No, but legit, Jimmy G.
Yeah, Jimmy G's like okay, but like Jimmy G's not like. I hope the Patriots don't trade for him. I know that's another rumor. Like it's like Jimmy G's. Sure, I get that with Kyle Shanahan, he made it to the Super Bowl, but like, do you really think Jimmy G is gonna come back to the Patriots and lead them to the Super Bowl? Because at the end of the day, that's what everything is about, right? Super Bowls and.
Matt
Jimmy
Castle?
G's not a Super Bowl quarterback. Matt Castle. I can't believe people actually thought he was good when he left.
He won 10 games.
Quick side topic, by the way, JT. You've been thinking about something to put on your background. You should order on like DHgate or something a Trey Lance North Dakota State jersey just hanging up behind.
Yeah, I hope the Patriots get Trey Lance. I saw it on ESPN, who they always have their wacky takes and whatever. They're comparing Dak to Ryan Fitzpatrick and Andy Dalton and Trubisky. Like, I mean, that one's a little more fair. But
I mean, dude, to be fair, on the last episode, I compared Justin Herbert to a very high-quality blender.
you know, that's a pretty good comparison. That makes sense. And anyway, like, they were talking about Trey Lance on the Patriots. I would love that. I would go and get a Trey Lance jersey if that was the case. That was a lot of time, though, spent on someone who's probably going to be, like, quarterback 17, maybe 20 this year. As compared to Jameis, who might not even be the starter, but I digress.
Watch your mouth. You better be. If Jameis is the starting quarterback, I want you all eating W's on this pod on camera.
Don't get me wrong.
I was on your side, Jake.
I think there's like a 60-40 chance Jameis probably is the starter, right? But like, why am I trying to bet on that 40% chance when I could go out and get Like who's
Because they'll probably throw like 40 touchdowns. That's why.
Because if it does
To
hit,
who?
you hit the jackpot.
Who's Jameis throwing 40? You've got Michael Thomas and then
You got Slant Boy and Troutman
yeah,
and
Troutman.
Kamara. And Kamara.
Troutman.
Kamara is basically a receiver.
Sure.
And
all right.
Taysom Hill.
And yeah, Taysom Hill, the tight end.
I will put in that is where Taysom Hill does gain value because even if he's not the quarterback, he is going to have some kind of role where he could be. I mean, I guess they took away his tight end designation though, so that kind of does. ding
In
him
some
a
leagues,
bit.
and last year in a redraft league, I lost a week because I played against Taysom Hill, who was still eligible as a tight end. Basically, turned it into a Superflex league when it wasn't.
Yeah, well, that you shouldn't have.
Are we
that.
convinced they aren't going to run the 2-quarterback system like
That'd
I've
be great.
predicted?
That'd
Oh
be
my
great.
God!
Let's go
Not
back
don't
up.
start with this 2-quarterback system again.
It's coming. It's coming. And it's happening this year. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Sean freaking Payton.
Oh, you're right. That's exactly who it would be. But still, I don't think so. I think Taysom Hill is still going to be this jack of all trades player that we've seen in when Drew Brees is healthy.
It has nothing on the Matt Patricia 10-man defense system.
What about the?
Super Bowls are won through that.
Pencils out.
Yeah.
Pencils out for Matt
I
Patricia.
don't have my pencil with me right now.
Oh, I got one this time, boys.
I'm unprepared. God ding me some points.
Lunis, you kind of look like Matt Patricia if you put on a nice
No,
hat.
don't do that.
You had another 100 pounds.
It's kind of mean only saying 100 for Lunas.
Call me that.
Last news and notes. This one, I don't know how much it really moves the needle, but Zach Ertz has permission to seek a trade from the Eagles. We've seen a couple teams interested: the Chiefs, the Bills, the Seahawks. Like, where is Zach Ertz in your guys' tight end rankings? Are you going out and buying him? I gotta imagine the price is very cheap at this point.
I know
Listen,
exactly where he's at.
I mean, I'd buy him depending the price and the landing spot. Like,
He's
I don't
gonna
know if
be
I'm
in a
willing to
better
bet on the
situation.
landing spot. Yeah, exactly.
Go
He
ahead.
can't be worse than Carson Wentz last year. Carson Wentz last year made Lunis look good at quarterback. But
I got
you got
an
a
arm.
cannon there, Lunis. You gotta warm up a little bit.
yeah. Just gotta warm up a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, Zach Ertz is still a talented player. Yes, he's aging. Yes, didn't have a good year last year. But listen, if he ends up with Russell Wilson in Seattle, you're going to tell me he's not going to have a good year? He ends up in LA with Justin Herbert throwing the ball. You're going to tell me he's not going to have a good year? So I think there's a very good chance that he does end up in a much better situation than he was in. And if the price is low enough, I think it's a good just dart throw here. I mean, what's it going to cost you? A late second, early third, most? Or at least?
Probably an early third. Like Zach
I would do
Yeah,
that.
so
Like,
if you're
trade Zach Ertz for an early third. Or
301
like
for Zach
buying
Ertz.
Zach Ertz for an early third. I'd buy him.
Yeah,
at
you
that
guys
price.
are buying him. Guess where he's going to be up? I don't care what team he goes to. I'm guaranteeing a wasteland finish for Zach Ertz.
A wasteland finish?
It's
What is
not
that,
hard to
after,
be
like,
tight end one.
QB5?
It's not hard to be tight end one. I can say with confidence he'll be a tight end one next year because it's not very hard.
Whoa. That's bold saying he's going to be a tight end one.
He's a wasteland.
You
If
don't
you like
think-
buying
you don't
wasteland, guys, go ahead and buy him.
Regardless of
I mean,
where-
as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's definitely a question mark. But like, I don't know. I think there is that wasteland. I think, like Frank said, like I just see Zach Ertz falling right in the middle of that wasteland where you could probably get some good weeks where he might score a touchdown, but all in all, you're probably getting bad weeks more than you're getting good weeks. And
Dude,
what's
I've
the
seen
point of
this
buying
story time and time and time again. He's going to go to Seattle or some bullshit so that he can please Russell Wilson so Russell Wilson doesn't demand a trade. And he's going to be Greg Olsen. He's going to have some good games. He's going to have some crap games. He's going to be firmly in the wasteland. And then you just wasted your early third-round pick on an average at best tight end that you probably could have got if you were a skilled waiver wire player.
He's gonna be much better than
That
people
was,
say.
that was perfectly said, Frank. That was my thoughts exactly right there.
I'm
JT,
higher
we're
on
really
him.
getting along this episode.
I know it's not usual for us, but I'll take it.
I'm higher on him because where are the rumored landing spots? It's Buffalo, Seattle, Chargers,
He
Kansas
can go
City.
to any team in
I
the
love
NFL.
all
I
of
don't give
those
a
landing
shit.
spots. I love all four of those landing spots. I think he'll be top 12. In my opinion, if I had to guess, top 10 tight end next year. Lower end. Nah, he's not going to be like 6 or 7, like 5
So
or 6.
then why
Probably
the hell
like,
am I buying him? He's going to be a lower end tight end in a top 10. So he's going to be lucky if he gets 600 yards, right? And he's old as shit. So it's not like, that should be going up anytime soon. Like, honestly, I value...
If I'm a contender, I'd pay an early third
What's
for that.
that Raiders guy? I value Foster Moreau much higher than I do Zach Ertz. That's going to sound crazy.
How?
Foster Moreau's good. The guy's got talent. Like,
Yeah,
I'm telling
sure,
you,
but he's stuck behind Darren Waller.
I don't care. I'd rather take a tight end that has talent than some old-ass dude who's going to be stuck in the wasteland the rest of his career.
He's not that
Okay,
old.
Jimmy Graham was tight end 13 last year. What does that say to you? Like, if you can get tight end 13 for
So-
nothing...
I don't want him.
Yeah, wait, hold
Zach
on.
Ertz just in 2019 had 88 catches for 916 yards and 6 touchdowns.
So looking at PPR,
That was
right
just in
here,
2019.
right?
I don't care.
For PPR, right? Tight end, we'll even go tight end 8, Rob Gronkowski. From Rob Gronkowski at tight end 8
He could be better than Rob Gronkowski.
to tight end 19, George Kittle. So 11 spots.
Who?
There's a difference of 24 points. 24 points separated spot 8 from spot 19. So like, are you really paying for those extra point and a half per game? Like I'd rather just take a
Exactly.
flyer on the third.
Well, that's not.
Right,
Last
right.
year, a bunch of guys got injured at tight end. Like Goddard missed time,
But it's the
Kittle
same
missed
every
time.
year. Tight end's a very tough position. Like people are going to get hurt every
Honest-
year.
Unless you have
Ertz,
Travis
if I don't have a
Kelce,
tight
and
end-
then-
Yeah, Ertz, if I don't have a tight end, I'm easily playing the early third for it if I consider myself a contender - playoff team, and he's someone that I'll throw in every week. If he goes to one of those 4 landing spots, the Chargers with Herbert, Chiefs
The
with
one
Mahomes.
thing I will say is this draft is loaded, so these beginning third-round picks could actually be worth something. So I'd be a little careful. I might wait and see who's on the board before pulling the trigger on something like this. I agree that I think Ertz has some value, but I think it might be actually towards the middle to the back end of the third round compared to what we've been saying, just because I think you might be able to get Chuba Hubbard at pick 301. So something like that I would definitely take over Zach Ertz. So I'm going to pump the brakes slightly, but I do think Zach Ertz is a guy to at least be monitoring and have on your radar.
Listen, I'm taking the pencil out of the air for this one. I'm the tight end guy. I am literally the tight end guy. And you heed these words. There are 2 types of tight ends in this world. Those in the wasteland and those not in the wasteland. Choose wisely.
So who's not in the wasteland?
Yeah, wait. Where's your wasteland?
How many tight ends?
Is your non-wasteland like
How
4
many tight ends are not in the wasteland?
Is there
What
only
it?
4 that's not in it?
You got Kelce, you got Kittle, you got Hawkinson, you got Waller.
See, you guys aren't thinking about this the right way, all right?
I got 4.
You got tight ends in the wasteland, you got tight ends out of the wasteland, all right? So if I know that a guy's in the wasteland, I'm not buying him. If I see a guy that has potential to crawl, scrap out of that wasteland, dude, I'll buy him. But like,
So who is
Zach
that to you? Is
Ertz,
that Noah Fant?
wasteland.
Is that Noah Fant?
yeah, Noah
to
Fant's
you?
a great buy. Robert Tonyan, Foster Moreau. Like I understand it's gonna sound crazy, but like, dude, Foster Moreau, I could pick up for 5 freaking fab. He's probably in the waiver wires in most leagues. Like that like my whole strategy with tight end every year, I pick up tight ends for value. I don't care how many I have. I don't care how many I need. Like I am never in my entire life just going out and buying a wasteland tight end because I need a tight end. All right, I'm just not doing. I would rather play with no tight end than pay good draft picks for a shitty tight end in the wasteland.
Fair enough. That's where I agree. We spent a lot of time on our news and notes, so I think now is a good time to move on. We've been looking at the free agency
Sorry.
tracker. Oh, good. I appreciate the wasteland. I think there's a lot of good moments to come out of the past 45 minutes. So we're looking at the free agency tracker, and I guess we'll just quickly go through each position, who signed with what teams. We've talked about, for quarterback, Jameis Winston, Cam Newton. Taysom Hill also re-signed with the Saints. Nothing really crazy there. Any real losers? I feel like no. Any winners? Also no. Like I don't think any of those really move the needle. Now, where it does get interesting is the Washington football team went out and signed Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Terry McLaurin stonks. They're up, people. They're up. Because he goes from having the worst quarterback situation in the league to slightly better than the worst quarterback situation in the league. But that's all you can ask for if you're a Terry McLaurin owner. Because now you've got that gunslinger who's not afraid to just throw the ball into double, triple coverage. He doesn't care. He's getting the guy that he wants the ball, or at least he's going to die trying. So Terry McLaurin stock up, I'd assume. Antonio Gibson probably stock up. Because you're going to free the box a little bit. He's also a PPR kind of running back idea. Anyone else?
Logan Thomas.
Logan Thomas. I guess that'd help a little bit.
Taylor Heineke.
He's kind of the number 2 receiver.
There is a good chance that they don't draft a quarterback. They might give Taylor Heineke the shot to win the starting shot. They're picking at 18. What quarterback are they getting at 18?
Bruh, if you think the Redskins signed Ryan Fitzpatrick sorry, don't cancel me over the R words.
Too late already.
The R words. But yeah, if you think the football team signing Ryan Fitzpatrick is gonna prevent them from taking a quarterback in the first round, you're just wrong.
This year,
There's no way.
Who are they drafting at 18? They're going to have to pay to move up, and is that really
19.
Washington? 19.
It is 19.
Kellen Mond City.
Great. You move
we
up
can't
to...
give Kellen Mond to everyone. Kellen Mond's can only...
Kellen Mond's not going to be on the board at 19.
I gotta
Yes,
imagine
he will be.
Yeah.
You gotta imagine he's going to be there.
But is Kellen Mond...
I think Mac Jones might be there. I think...
No.
That's a Kobe. Both of them are going to be gone.
There's going to be a run on quarterbacks I feel like that we've not seen in a long time.
And I agree, but I think they don't... I don't think they will have to move up that far. I think if they move up from 19 to, let's say, 13, I think they could easily snag one of them, and I don't think it'll cost them that much, especially in the middle rounds here with all the quarterbacks that are going. People will be happy to move back at a premium here, just for these teams to take a quarterback. If you throw in an extra third-round pick to move back the second, or even if you're just throwing a second-round pick to move back 3 spots, I think 6 spots, I think every team's going to do that. I don't know who picks at 13 off the top of my head, but something along those lines. I think they will end up with one of these, quarterback 4, 5, 6, and it might be. But I think this is a good draft class for quarterbacks, so it's just what's going to happen.
My issue though is like when we're talking like quarterback 4, 5, 6. I guess this is a very strong quarterback class, but are you really banking on the 4th or 5th best quarterback to be your franchise guy?
I mean, listen,
Yeah.
A lot of guys have our boy Trey Lance as quarterback 4. I mean, I think that's in most years. I think he's way higher than that, and I think we all agree on that. I think a lot of people have Mac Jones behind Trey Lance. That's quarterback 5. Frank loves Mac Jones. I think
Mac Jones would be higher in most drafts.
My issue with this, right, though, is I think Trey Lance is going in the top 10, and then you got Mac Jones probably shortly behind him. Like, you are going to have to – there are going to be more than just the Washington football team looking to move up to get their guy. So you're going to have to spend a lot, I feel like, this year. I don't know.
Also, let's just not forget that Taylor Heineke is a good quarterback. And Listen,
he's what he is. He's what he is. He's proven that he is a capable backup in the NFL. I think he'll be around a long time and make a nice career for himself. But listen, I don't think he's a starting caliber quarterback that you're going to trot out there for 16 games in multiple years and be like, yep, we have a good chance to win. I don't think that's it.
I don't think he is either, but he proved me wrong, man. I'm not giving up on him. Taylor Heineke, I freaking love you, man.
He did better.
The point, though, is
he did better against the Chiefs' defense than Mahomes.
But the point here is
but I do agree with you, Jake.
If you don't think he's the guy that you could trot out there for 16 games, multiple years down the road, then why are you even bothering? what's the point? At least take a shot on someone that might be.
Dude, the Taylor Heineke disrespect.
It's
what it is, man. It's what it is.
I agree with you, Jake.
It's going to be a tough. I just don't know if it's in the Washington football team's MO to give up a bunch of capital to try and get their guy, unless they're going out and getting.
It's not in their MO.
I don't know if
they did it before.
Yeah, and how'd it work out for them?
I mean, you take away the injuries to RG3 and maybe it worked out, but it didn't.
Yeah. Unless they're going for that established guy like Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson, who knows if they'd be willing to go out and spend for them. If I'm them, I'm throwing everything for them. If I could trade the next 3 years first round picks, I'm the Washington football team. Those are kind of attractive picks, knowing my organization, and plus even something, right? And I could get a team where I have Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson paired with Antonio Gibson and Terry McLaurin on my offense, and then I have the very strong defense that I have in a sorry to you NFC East guys, but like a not great division. Like, I think that's a very good formula for a solid playoff run. It's probably your best chance at a Super Bowl in 20 years. So that's something I'd take.
I don't think you're wrong, and I actually saw something interesting online somewhere. I forget where I read it, but like just like how the Rams just like throw away first round picks. I don't understand why someone just doesn't go, sure, I'll give you my next 7 first round picks for Deshaun Watson. Like, what's it like? Why at this point, if you like, especially if you're a high caliber like team that like would expect to be in contention for the next 10 years with Deshaun Watson, just follow the Rams' blueprint. They don't seem to be affected by not having first-round picks every year.
You want to know why? It's because of the Nets. The Nets have scared every team for trading for a bunch of good players with their first-round picks. The Rams are the only team that got ballsy enough to try and do what they did.
I'm like, the Nets, like, there's what? What are you talking about?
No. Like, I legitimately think that teams look at the Nets and they're like, okay,
Paul
we can't
Pierce
be like them.
Nets.
No, I got it now, but I thought he was talking about like net ratings. I'm like, what is he talking about?
The Nets.
The Patriots have shown like they could burn first round picks and just not pick the right players, and like they still do fine because they have.
I mean, the Seahawks haven't had a good first rounder in like 8 years.
Yeah. So
I agree. First round picks are overvalued.
Yeah. So it's the quarterback that's really going to make the difference, right? So if you have that good quarterback, like assuming he stays healthy, there's almost guaranteed you're not finishing bottom 10, bottom 15 probably. So like your pick isn't even that great in the first round anyway. I agree, Jake. I just don't get why teams aren't willing to just screw it. Let's just bet the house on this guy because we know he's good. We know we have a good team already. And we've seen what the Patriots have been able to do. They just, rather than draft people, they just went out and just picked everyone up this year. So it's like
right, and now you tell me like the Pats go, hey Seattle, we'll give you 7 first round picks. You like, there's no way they say no. And now the Patriots are like instantly like neck and neck with the Chiefs. Like, why wouldn't you?
Goodell can't take your picks if you don't have them. That's a great idea by the Patriots.
Oh my! That's the most Patriots thing I've ever heard in my life.
Tell me it's not true.
Yeah, before we move on.
By the way, quick side. Oh, Frank, go ahead. Then I'll go after you.
I was just gonna say, like, you know, let's get back on track a little bit. Are we buying any one of Ryan Fitzpatrick, Tyrod Taylor, or Andy Dalton if we need a quarterback, or are we looking elsewhere?
Maybe Andy Dalton if you like say you're a contender and one of your top 2 QBs gets hurt and you don't really have a third starter. I think Andy Dalton's probably the cheapest starting QB for the entire season.
Well, let's just say we're a contender and we have one good quarterback and we need, you know, we just had Drew Brees retire. Are we buying any one of these guys, or is there just a better buy for a similar price?
I'd probably feel best to buy Andy Dalton starting the entire season, so I'd probably try to buy Andy Dalton.
I just don't know what the price even is for these players. Like, I have Ryan Fitzpatrick. It probably wouldn't take a lot for me to move him.
A late second at most, and I'm talking last pick in the second round, kind of late, and that might be an overpay.
Yeah, I don't know.
It probably is.
I don't know.
I think I would be looking to trade 307, something like that for Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, what can you give for him? Nothing. He's an old quarterback.
Oh, I was talking more about Dalton, because Dalton, like, I mean, yeah, even that, it's like, what, a mid-third would probably do it for most Dalton owners.
Yeah.
As a Ryan Fitzpatrick owner, I wouldn't mind like packaging him with a pick to just move up a couple spots in the draft. Like, I feel like that's probably your best strategy of gaining some value, because it goes from, like I don't even know if this is a great move, but like you're trading Elijah Moore plus Ryan Fitzpatrick for Terrace Marshall, like that kind of thing. That's something.
Okay, one more thing before we move on to the running backs.
I think you picked the wrong players there, JT, but it's fine.
Well, moving up a couple spots in the draft, I don't know.
What's the best
I like
move?
Terrace Marshall better. But.
The Fitzmagic, Tyrod Taylor, or Dalton move? Which one do we think is the best?
I'm on Tyrod.
Are we talking for the teams or are we talking for the players? Because I feel like the Washington football team getting Ryan Fitzpatrick was the best.
Yeah, I do too. I'm just like in general for fantasy, for like.
I mean,
is any of these moves going to pan out?
Fantasy-wise, it's Ryan Fitzpatrick just because of the style of play he is and the opportunity he's going to get. But for the team, I think Tyrod Taylor is a big pickup here. He's just a vet guy that can literally, he could be the bridge, he could be the starter if Watson's going to sit out. Like, there's just so many ways to go, and I think Tyrod's a really good signing for Houston.
Dude, every single team Tyrod Taylor's touched, they've gotten a stud quarterback. The Bills, then the Chargers, like
the Browns were in there at some point.
Yeah,
but
now
people
Baker
are signing him as secretly a QB scout. Just watching a lot of college film tips them off.
Okay.
Before we move on to the next thing,
running backs?
Before we move on to that, just a quick side note: Bills and Emmanuel Sanders, 1 year, $6 million.
Yeah, I updated the tracker. We can talk about that in a minute, I guess. Real quick, running backs. Not much has happened, except Saquon got replaced by Devontae Booker. Rip to all you Saquon owners. Devontae Booker is now the starter, and he's going to run away with it. Sell for mid-second, if that. I'd probably just release him. He's kind of a roster clogger at this point. But in reality, we've got Aaron Jones, who we talked about, re-signing with the Packers, and Darrell Williams re-signing with the Chiefs. Damian Williams got cut by the Chiefs. Carlos Hyde signed with the Jaguars, and Devontae Booker signed with the Giants. Mark Ingram signed with the Texans, and Malcolm Brown signed with the Dolphins. So no real, big name starting running backs right now. Frank's yawning. That's kind of how it sums up everything about this.
Does Mark Ingram have any life, though? Is there any possibility he can get more than 500 yards this season?
Name an older backfield combo than Mark Ingram and David Johnson together.
Maybe he's less fatigued and old and run down than David Johnson. Maybe he's able to get a little bit more of the bulk of the workload, but I doubt it. None of these players interest me. I'm not going out and signing any of them. The only thing I feel comfortable about is James Robinson. If the Jaguars are going out and signing Carlos Hyde as kind of like that depth piece, that makes me feel better about James Robinson and if I own him in my league, because it kind of indicates that they're not really looking to make a splash. I feel like, who knows? They could come out. They could go and get. There aren't many big players to make a splash on anyway, so it is what it is. The running back market this year is kind of sad.
What about the Dolphins, though, with Gaskin? Because Malcolm Brown and Gaskin do kind of work off each other. Is there any chance that Gaskin has the number one spot heading into next year, or are they still drafting a running back?
I think right now he does, but I think they're going to draft one.
I think Najee is a lock is strong, but I feel like Najee's just going to find himself on the Dolphins.
Yeah, the thing is, I like Gaskin, but the Dolphins, every single time there was a running back on the market, they've been in the rumor mill for him, and that just really scares me as a Gaskin owner. I even think Gaskin could still be decent if they if they bring in a running back, but fuck, dude. I don't see the Dolphins as the team to have two fantasy relevant running backs. I feel like he's just going to be relegated to that annoying role. And to be honest, I don't really like the Dolphins as a running back landing spot. I know it's a little off topic, but I'm already we're all lower on Najee the consensus because we don't have him as our RB1. If he goes to the Dolphins, I think schematically it's a good fit, but dude, like now you might be taking him off the field on third downs, and to me, like I don't like that. I just think there's way better planning. Am I crazy? Is that making sense?
No, it's not
Makes
crazy.
sense to me.
I just think too though, if they go out and they sign another running back, like I feel like that just makes everything murkier and like less appealing to me, right? Because like James Conner, is he really going to be the lead back over Gaskins? Like I don't really know. I think they're just going to split workloads, which makes it even more gross. Chris Carson, same thing. Although I like Chris Carson a little better, I just still feel like Gaskins is going to eat into that, and probably also Malcolm Brown. Like it's going to be that murky, gross backfield that you're not going to want to touch. But you know what?
Your classic Patriots backfield.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Najee's gonna go there though, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my God, look at Najee! He's like this great weapon on this team. He got drafted in the first round. We should draft him really high." And it's gonna be like what happened with Cam Akers and Jonathan Taylor, except Najee's just not as talented as either of them, and so it's just gonna be gross. It's gonna be bad. But go ahead and draft Najee if you're in front of me in fantasy. All right, we're gonna move on from running
that
backs.
was too.
Yeah. We're gonna move on. Now we're talking wide receivers. There were a lot of wide receivers that got signed. To talk about some real quick that I feel like we shouldn't really want. Like we're not gonna talk a lot of time about. We've got John Ross going to the Giants. Wide receiver 1 Jake for the Giants. He's the big splash they made. Just shaking your head. If you want to go on a 30-second rant, I'll allow it.
What the fuck? That's it. What the fuck?
Cool. No, that's good. Perfect. Summed it up. Don't go out and buy John Ross. Like, who cares? Emmanuel Sanders to the Bills. I guess that moves the needle a little bit more. He's just old, and the Bills have Stephon Diggs, so he's automatically not. I don't know. Gabriel Davis. What do we feel about for Gabriel Davis, right? If they're going out and drafting Emmanuel Sanders, does that make you feel better or worse about Gabriel Davis?
I like
I
it.
don't care.
I think it helps him. I think people are gonna say like it's a good time to buy Gabriel Davis right now, just because people are gonna think that Emmanuel Sanders is immediately gonna step into this number 2 role, and I like Gabriel Davis. I liked him coming out of UCF last year, and I still do. I think he showed out pretty well for a rookie in a pretty crowded receiving core. So I expect this role to grow with Josh Allen here. So go out and buy Gabriel Davis.
Yeah, the other thing, too, is that I feel like if you're buying Gabriel Davis, you're not buying him for immediate production next year. You're buying him for a little bit of next year, but mainly like year 3 and beyond, expecting, okay, that's when he's really going to start lighting it up. So I think Jake's right. If anyone is saying, oh, well, crap, they don't believe in Gabriel Davis, like, dude, I'm still buying him, especially in startups. I think that the profile trumps any of this other bull crap that can happen.
Yeah. Moving on to some more interesting ones. I guess one more and knock out of the way. Kendrick Bourne signed with the Patriots, and as a Patriots fan, I just don't see him even being a top 3 wide receiver. I'll talk about the other guys that they signed. Let alone top 3 or 4 target on the Patriots. So what does that mean? Like, not fantasy relevant, if you ask me. Not someone I'd be going out and buying. On the other hand, though, Nelson Aguilar did also sign with the Patriots. That one I'm feeling a little bit better about. I think he plays a different position. I am worried, though, that Cam will be his quarterback for the beginning on the Patriots. I still have hopes that they sign a quarterback, or draft a quarterback, sorry. Any of you guys buying Nelson Aguilar?
Dude, imagine like 2 years ago, you said that the Patriots went out and signed Cam Newton and Nelson Aguilar to be starting on their offense.
Oh, look. If you told me like 40-something-year-old Tom Brady was still going to win 2 Super Bowls and this is the situation I'd be in now, I guess I'd take it.
This league, dude, this league.
It's not a great feeling, but it's It's all
At
right.
least you didn't sign John Ross. You could have signed John Ross.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Dolphins, who definitely should be going out and buying a wide receiver, and who knows, like they still definitely have time to, have not made their big splash was
Their wide receivers going to be Jamar Chase anyway, so it's fine.
I don't know if you think they're good. They'd have to trade down, right? They're not. No way they're picking him that high, are they?
They can pick him at 3. Why
I
not?
absolutely
Really?
think they can take him at 3.
When was the last time a wide receiver went in the top 5? I don't know if any of you know that off the top of your head.
AJ Green, Julio Jones.
AJ Green did. Didn't Sammy Watkins go top 5
Did
too? Or
did
he go at
did
6?
Mike?
Corey
Did John
Davis.
Ross?
Yeah,
Did
Corey
John
Davis.
Ross go top 5?
No, he went 9th.
Close. Kevin White went
Ninth.
7th.
Mike
to the
Williams?
Bears.
Where did Mike Williams go?
I don't think he went top
Mike
5.
Williams went
But
7.
Yeah.
7.
All right.
Okay.
So I guess it's not that unrealistic, but I
Lunis,
still
what
like
do you
DeMar
think
Chase.
about Nelson Aguilar?
How do I feel he's going to
He
be in
be
New
catching them, unlike Aguilar.
England? I mean, no. Last season was awesome for him. He's kind of got a 2-year thing now. If he's the number 1 receiver there, I expect him to have a similar year that he did in Oakland.
I feel like he is the number, like wide receiver speaking, he is the number 1
Yeah, wide receiver wise.
receiver.
Yeah, so I expect him to have a similar year that he did in Oakland.
Yes, Jake.
It doesn't matter what number receiver he is. We all know he's like the 3rd receiving option on the team anyway.
We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I think he'll.
I mean, in Oakland he was the 2nd.
Yeah, he's someone though that you can go out for pretty cheap, and I feel like you would be kind of comfortable having him in a flex spot. In a 3 wide receiver league where you have 2 flexes, like I don't know. It's again not a great. You don't feel great about it, but it's whatever. All right, more intriguing kind of wide receivers. Tyrell Williams signed with the Lions from the Raiders. It seems like he's currently the wide receiver 1 on the Lions. That's probably bound to change. And you feel strongly about Tyrell Williams. I don't really.
He's got a lot of opportunity here.
He does.
Big opportunity.
And he wasn't.
But other than
I will
that,
say, I think he's a decent buy low. We saw what
Yeah.
Goff was able to do with Brandon Cooks. Like, why can't he do that with Tyrell Williams?
True, and he wasn't bad when he was on the Raiders before he got hurt. So he's a speculative buy, I guess. I'm personally not going to go out and spend too much on Tyrell Williams, though. Someone I do like better, though, and I like his fit, Marvin Jones signed with the Jaguars. You got to assume that Trevor Lawrence is going to be there on the Jaguars. It's a crowded wide receiver room, but it's a decently strong wide receiver room when you're talking DJ Chark, Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault. Who am I
didn't
missing?
Shark just get traded?
No,
That ended up not being true.
That was rumored. He was going to go to like the Ravens or something. So DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault. No, Frank, I do not mean Kellen Mond. Marvin Jones.
Everyone, real quick, rank how those 3 finish fantasy wise. Like who finishes first, second, worst out of those 3 receivers.
I don't know.
Wait, who are we ranking? Marvin Jones, Tyrell Williams, and who?
No,
Marvin Jones,
Chark.
DJ Chark, and Shenault.
Oh, fuck.
I
Marvin Jones 1, Shenault 2, Chark 3.
I have Shenault.
That one's.
I have Shenault 1, Jones 2, Chark 3.
I will say though, this is kind of where I think along with some of you probably agree with me, where I was saying like I'm not going out and buying these Jaguar wide receivers assuming Trevor Lawrence is going to be their quarterback and everything, because you don't know what's going to happen in free agency and the draft, and here we go. Is Marvin Jones the definite alpha wide receiver on this team? No. But is he going to be eating into some of these guys' shares? Like, definitely. That's why I didn't really understand. Like, I get the speculative ad. Like, you could get Josh Oliver for nothing off the waiver wire and, like, just toss him on the back end of your roster. But, like, you got to assume they're bringing in some other tight end. I think they did sign one today. No one great. But, like, even so, like, is that tight end going to mean anything? Like, there's so many other wide receivers on the Jaguars. It's just trying to predict the future in the NFL is so hard, and unless you're like seeing aging running backs going out of their contract, stuff like that, like why are you trying to speculate on what's the situation going to be in a couple of years or even just next year? Because it's the NFL, anything can happen.
100%. You should not be buying players on the Jaguars because you think that their offense is immediately going to become a top 5 offense, especially with a rookie quarterback. Like, you should buy them if you like their talent, but the odds that they shoot into a top 10 offense, like, dude, the Broncos are just as likely to shoot into being a sick offense as the Jaguars. Yeah, you could say, you can laugh at me all you want, but, like, statistically speaking, they realistically do.
I'm laughing at the Broncos more than I'm laughing at you. They're the Broncos. you could have told me any other team, I would have been happier with it. I'm out on Drew Lock.
Like, what's the rookie passing record? How many yards?
Didn't Herbert just set that?
Yeah, Herbert just said it.
That was a lot of yards, whatever it was.
4,500 something.
Yeah, I'll pull it up real quick for you. Herbert went for 4,336 yards. 31 touchdowns.
That's close.
Jesus Christ, he's insane.
Herbert. He's a fruit ninja blender.
But yeah, like, he has to be ridiculous. Like, Trevor Lawrence, like, I'm not saying he's, like, obviously he's a great prospect, but you're expecting him to go in year one and put up 4,300 yards? Like, dude, it's just hard. Like, I understand Trevor Lawrence is good, but I don't think he's that good.
Yeah. Exactly.
Are we all in consensus if you had to choose who to have between Trevor Lawrence or Herbert, you'd choose Herbert?
As the guy who has Herbert in our league, I'm not trading Herbert straight up for 101. I can tell you that much. I don't know if everyone feels the same way, but...
Dude,
I'm taking Herbert,
QB's
but I think it's
trends
close.
Thing that I don't think it's close.
I
don't think it's close.
It's
at all.
close. You don't think it's close at all? I think it's close. I lean Herbert, but I think it's close.
Herbert's a good third and fourth year away from being a surefire prospect.
What about a second year?
What'd you say, Jake?
Frank's like he's a good third and fourth year away from being a stud, and I'm like, what about a second year? 1 year at a time here, bud.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it would take for me to honestly move Herbert for Lawrence, like 101 plus whatever.
Not a whole lot, I'll tell you that right now.
In my opinion,
not a whole lot.
I have what I had. Like, I know Herbert had a great season. Like, why I get Trevor Lawrence is great. Like, there's no way he'd be anything but the 101 in my opinion this year. But why bet on something that like you have already? You already have that good quarterback. I understand you're picking up some kind of asset, I guess, and you have the potential of him being a superstar. But like the difference from Justin Herbert to Patrick Mahomes is, otherworldly. But like the difference from Justin Herbert to Josh Allen, who I think is probably consensus quarterback 2 right now, isn't that like crazy? Are we assuming Trevor Lawrence is gonna like rocket up there too? Like, I don't know. It's a lot.
I think Trevor Lawrence is not incredibly overrated, but I think he's being overrated right now. Like, dude, I don't think
that's
he's
what
in the
happens
same...
when you've been considered like the next best quarterback since you were a senior in high school. That's what happens when like people have known about him for so long. He won a national championship as a true freshman. Like, that's just what happens to these guys, and I understand that. And I think he did have a not a great year for what people have been saying about him. But I do think obviously the talent is there. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I still think he kind of dogged it a little bit. Just because he knows he's going to the number 1 pick, why kill yourself for that extra yard every now and then when you know you're going to be the number 1 pick anyway? Don't cost yourself, whatever is going to be $40 million. There's no point.
I have Trevor Lawrence right now at max QB9.
Maximum QB9? Who do you have?
Well, yeah. If Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, and those guys are QB8, like whoever it is at QB8.
I guess it's about right. Yeah, I guess so.
Are you slotting him right in front of Burrow? Like, is that what
Yeah.
you have? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
That I feel
Yes.
like is fair. They're both like Burrow. We haven't fully seen. He also now has a major injury to come back from, and while Lawrence, we actually have not seen in the NFL. So yeah, right around there, I think is fair. I would bet though that we're probably in the minority in that aspect. Like, I think some might even push Trevor Lawrence as high as maybe not quarterback.
Well,
5,
yes,
but
some
quarterback
people would
6.
take Trevor Lawrence over Justin Herbert, but I think that's absolutely freaking absurd. We just saw Justin Herbert have a ridiculous season.
A rookie record
Dude,
year.
Justin Herbert would have been a top 3 quarterback in dynasty drafts if the entire league didn't go crazy this year. Like, you look at Justin Herbert's season this year, he would have been a top 5 quarterback in like any other fantasy season aside from this one where he finished like QB9. And he would have been a top 3 pick in dynasty drafts.
He also did not start the first game too. And we're also talking COVID year where the
Insane.
yeah, it was a very good year. This is another year of another week of us singing the praises of Justin Herbert. So,
Dude, I wasn't on Herbert, but like the more you look into Herbert,
Go ahead,
the more
JT.
you're like, holy
Do
shit,
it.
this guy's insane.
I know you want it. I know you want to do it, JT. Just do it already.
I don't know what you want me to do, to be completely honest.
You're gonna pat yourself on the back for Herbert. I know you
No,
are.
I should, but I want the Frank. I don't know if you can do it, but can we get like the little Herbert Ninja Fruit Blender graphic on the screen while we're talking about this? I don't know if that's
Oh, dude, I think it is, but it's
you
gonna
don't have to
take
do
me
it
a
right
little
now.
bit.
Maybe in post production. Who knows? I don't know how skilled.
I'll do it next episode.
All right, cool. The daily fruit blender.
Our production
segment.
crew.
Yeah. All right,
Slacking.
let's get back on track. We got one more wide receiver to talk about, then a couple tight ends, then we can move on to our final segment. Corey Davis signed with the Jets. The Jets actually made a splash, and so far he's the top. I feel like Corey Davis is the top wide receiver to sign so far. I don't think anyone really disagrees with that. Still not that exciting when we have arguably 3, 4 probably bigger wide receiver names to come off the board still. So, again, this is something with what we think about Mims. I'm less concerned about Corey Davis, more concerned about Mims. Is this a bad
I
sign
hate
for
this
Mims?
I think it's a bad sign for the Jets, period. I mean, I've said this earlier. I liked Corey Davis doing what he was doing. When he had A.J. Brown in front of him, he was a great number 2 receiver. Now that he's arguably, I think he...
I've got an interesting stat. Well, it's not even a stat. Let me.
What are you going to say when A.J. Brown's off the field, he does better?
No, but I mean, I assume that to be the case. Actually, this guy, DF Bean Counter on Twitter, he tweeted out who the primary corner was for each player, and it's pretty equal, maybe slightly leaning towards Corey Davis, the strength of corner that faced each of them, Corey Davis and A.J. Brown. So it's definitely something like Corey Davis got the Jair Alexander treatment, not A.J. Brown when they play the Packers.
Yeah, but I'm sure if you look which side of the field the safety's favoring, it's going to be A.J. Brown every time.
Yeah, it depends. Some teams don't have the number 1 corner follow the number 1 receiver. They'll just have them stand on one side of the field.
That's another thing. I bet you they flip-flop based on whatever side of the field it's on. Like, the corner just stays on his side of the field.
I agree, but it's something that, like Corey Davis wasn't...
I mean, I like Corey Davis.
Yeah, Corey Davis was not getting ignored when he was on the Titans. Like, it wasn't like...
I'm not saying I wasn't saying he's getting ignored, but I'm saying if you're expecting Corey Davis to be your wide receiver 1 and be that guy that everyone's going to say, hey, we have to bracket him or we have to put our number 1 guy on it, that's just not it. And I just think that leaves Mims in a bad spot also because now Mims is going to get probably just as much attention. And on top of that, the quarterback situation in New York is who knows what. So I just
Fields
don't
or
like...
Wilson.
Seems
I
like
mean-
more and more like Zach Wilson, but I'm not convinced yet.
It's going to be Zach Wilson, but I don't know if he's better than Fields for sure yet.
Either way, the point is, pre A.J. Brown, Corey Davis was the number 1 in Tennessee, and he did nothing for years. I mean, I really liked him as that number 2 receiver, and now he's trying to step into these receiver 1 shoes, and I just don't think he's gonna fill them.
I'm still not convinced the Jets are done, though. Like, they might still get a Kenny Golladay or a Will Fuller or one of those guys, too.
And if they were to do that, then it makes this signing completely different. And if this was
Also
just the
really
first
bad for
domino to
Mims.
fall,
Yeah, really bad for Mims if they were talking that, though. I've been out on Mims for a little while now, though, so maybe I'm just a hater.
I think they draft one in day 2.
Wouldn't be surprised by
even
that.
then though, like there's a lot of day 2 guys that we all like, and I know that for a fact. So I just think the Jets and receivers is a messy situation right now.
Yeah. All right. Final one, position group. We've got tight ends. So first, on Monday, Jonnu Smith signed with the Patriots. And if we recorded this Monday night, I would have been banging my fist on the table being like, go out and buy Jonnu Smith. Because you know what? He's going to be the Greg Olsen and Cam's offense. The Patriots need a red zone target. They don't have any of those. Look at Jonnu Smith. He's a great red zone target. Bills even talked about what he's able to do after the catch. Go get Jonnu Smith. And then what did they do today? They went out and got Hunter Henry, too. So now we've got Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry on the same team. A lot of people have been making comparisons of trying to recreate the same magic that they had with Gronk and Aaron Hernandez. Clearly, these two guys are not the same caliber, although one is not killing people. Both these guys aren't killing people, I would hope. So that's a plus. They're not in jail, so that's also a plus. Or dead. Sorry. Well, I don't know about sorry, but just not a great situation.
All right, JT, let's move along here.
Yeah, we're gonna Jake say the Washington football team wrong again, so you could dig me out of this hole. Moving on.
What just happened?
I got stuck trying to tiptoe.
We should make
around
that
Aaron
the
Hernandez.
clip for Instagram.
Yeah,
We should make that last 20 seconds the clip.
Not a great guy.
All right, let me help you out, JT.
Wait, hold on.
Do these players' values go up or down from both going to the
Down.
Patriots? What the fuck?
Hold on.
It goes
First
down,
off-
which is up.
First off, we're going to take a little textbook
It goes
out of
down.
Power Cake. We'll be the first podcast to disavow Aaron Hernandez. What he did was wrong. We do not agree with it. Now, moving on.
Why are you still talking about it?
Jonnu Smith, let's focus. Focus. Jonnu Smith, I don't hate this with Jonnu
I'm
Smith.
out, fellas.
All right, JT, we're done with tight ends. Your Patriots signed 2 of them. We got it. They'll probably try to be Gronk and Hernandez, but they won't be. Did I mention that we don't condone what Aaron Hernandez did?
Thank you. Exactly. Yeah. But let's focus. Jonnu Smith, I feel like this doesn't hurt him as much as people
Take that,
say.
other fantasy podcast. Who else condones murder?
Exactly.
Wait, Frank actually left. Oh, there.
I haven't seen Dynasty.
Us at 3rd and 20, we do not condone murder or Aaron Hernandez's
I'm
actions.
gonna say right now, I haven't
JT might. We're gonna have to handle that one internally, though.
I haven't seen Dynasty nerds condone murder. I'd like a statement from them.
Are they
They'll
pro
murder your fantasy team with their
They're
crap
pro
takes.
murder?
Whoa.
That's what I'm getting from
Frank's
them.
Firing
Dynasty.
shots.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Frank's trying to start some podcast beef.
I'm kidding. We only kind of like you, Dynasty nerds. I'm not gonna gas you, but you're all right.
Moving on. Let me get to my take here. I don't think this hurts Jonnu Smith as much as other people would say. I feel like Hunter Henry, his ideal situation was the Chargers, and now he's not on the Chargers, so obviously his stock hurts. Jonnu Smith, I'm just going to say this is a lateral move, right? He's not, when he was on the Titans, he wasn't the number one target. He only had like 60 targets on the Titans. Hunter Henry had like 90 on the Chargers. There's no way Hunter Henry is seeing 90 now, I feel like, especially with all the additions at receiver. And Jonnu Smith. It's just, I think Jonnu Smith is probably more likely going to be the red zone target than Hunter Henry is. He's kind of just an athletic freak. I agree that Hunter Henry is also kind of an athletic freak, but when you see Bill Belichick talking about what Jonnu Smith's able to do, it just makes me think Johnny is going to be that guy that's going to get that nod at that situation, which is going to make him more valuable. At the end of the day, though, Frank, they're the wasteland guys. they're the top end of the wasteland guys, but they're the wasteland guys.
Yeah, I agree. They're wastelanders. I do agree though that Jonnu Smith I think is the buy. I think that we're gonna see, like you said, it's a pretty lateral move, but I think we'll see an uptick, an increase in the red zone usage, touchdowns, all that jazz from Jonnu Smith. But I think the winner from these moves is the starting running back for the Patriots. I think that the Patriots are gonna try and adopt that power football that we've seen from them. They tried to do it last year, but their tight end play sucked. Now they actually have good tight ends, so I think we're going to see that power football. And I think that's why they brought in Nelson Aguilar as that true X receiver to complement this system. So if Damian Harris is the starting back, I think Damian Harris is the big winner.
But we're not convinced that Damian Harris will be the starting back. There's been rumors about Leonard Fournette possibly going to the Patriots.
Yeah, that's the
also
problem.
Chris Carson. I saw
Carson.
Fournette and Chris Carson rumors. Yeah.
Not to mention that's the Patriots.
One last.
Go ahead, Jake.
I was gonna say one last note on Jonnu Smith is I would not be surprised to see him just split out wide a lot of times. I think the Patriots are going to use him in a variety of ways, not just the traditional on the end of the line tight end setup here. I think they are going to split him outside, put him in the slot, and try to get him the ball in a lot of different ways here, just because he is so athletic and so great after the catch.
I completely agree, Jake.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that sums up the free agency stuff. Real quick. First off, if you made it through my Aaron Hernandez stuff, thank you. That is impressive. I can't believe I would not have the patience.
That's gonna be the Insta clip.
No, the Jake Eaton's W's gotta be the Insta clip.
We're making
that was gotta be like the profile picture, to be honest. All right, real quick to end off the podcast. Players that we still got to wait for. I don't even know if we have to talk about them. There's no point speculating at this point because by the time the next episode's going to air, they're probably going to be somewhere. But we're still waiting on Kenny Golladay, Juju, Will Fuller, Curtis Samuel, John Brown, Chris Carson, and Le'Veon Bell. Those are kind of the big names. You guys got to just hold through the last area of free agency. Next week we're going to talk about some random free agent players that you could probably get for around a fourth in value that we might be willing to go out and buy. Probably cover some more free agency stuff. I'm sure some of those big name players are going to sign. We'll only be a month from the draft. So big things ahead, big things coming up. I appreciate all the subscribers. We hit some milestone subscription numbers. Thank you, everyone. If you're listening to us on your form of podcast, please like, rate, review, comment. Yes, I don't know if you can comment, but sure. Anything else you guys got to add?
If you leave a 5-star review, I will personally give you a high five.
Yeah. Also, thumbs up this video. Leave any fantasy comments you have. If anything you want to ask, we try to answer anything people comment to us. So if you comment any question regarding your team, we'll answer it on the pod or in the comments.
I feel like we're trying to get our interaction up with you guys. So if you have some disagreements too, I do appreciate the disagreements because I like seeing other perspectives. That way we're not in kind of an echo chamber. Although I feel like we do a good job of that, not to blow us up too much. All right, episode 28 in the books. Thank you, guys.
Everyone go out and eat a W today.
And don't murder people.